I learned about one of the most life-changing Black history facts, all because my phone died at the airport. I learned about one of the most life-changing Black history facts, all because my phone died at the airport. That's it. That's the origin story. It was mid-February, Black History Month, and I, 31, female, was stuck at the airport during a 6-hour layover. My charger decided to stop working, and every outlet near my gate was taken by people guarding them like survivalists protecting water in a desert. So there I was. No phone. No laptop battery. Just me and a worn-out paperback book I already knew by heart. Out of pure boredom, I wandered into one of those little airport tech kiosks, the kind that sells overpriced headphones and emergency chargers. Behind the counter was this woman, probably in her late 60s, wearing a NASA hoodie that had clearly been washed 100 times. I made a joke about my tragic modern-day survival situation, and she laughed. "You know," she said, tapping my dead phone, "if it weren't for a Black woman at NASA, we might not have gotten to the moon when we did." I thought she meant something symbolic. She didn't. She meant literal orbital mechanics. She started telling me about Katherine Johnson. I had heard the name vaguely before, maybe from a movie trailer, but I couldn't have told you what she actually did. This woman, whose name tag said Denise, explained that Johnson was a mathematician whose calculations were critical to early U.S. space missions. When NASA started using electronic computers, astronauts still wanted Johnson to personally verify the numbers. When John Glenn was preparing to orbit Earth in 1962, he reportedly refused to fly until the girl, meaning Katherine Johnson, checked the computer's trajectory calculations by hand. Let that sink in. A man about to be shot into space trusted a Black female mathematician's brain more than the machine. Denise leaned forward and said, "She calculated the trajectory for Apollo 11 too." As in Apollo 11, as in the mission that put humans on the moon. I just stared at her. Somehow, I made it through years of school thinking the moon landing story was a neat little package: astronauts, rockets, Neil Armstrong, American flag, done. I never once thought about the mathematicians behind the scenes, let alone that one of the key figures was a Black woman working during segregation. Denise told me how Johnson worked in the Colored Computers Unit at NASA's Langley Research Center. How she had to walk across campus to use a separate bathroom. How she kept asking to attend high-level briefings even when women weren't usually invited, and how she eventually just started showing up. She didn't wait to be included, Denise said. She inserted herself where she knew she belonged. That line hit me in a weirdly personal way. Because here's the thing, I've always played it safe at work. I'm the kind of person who does what's assigned, does it well, and then quietly retreats. I don't volunteer for the big presentations. I don't push to sit in strategy meetings. I tell myself, if they want me there, they'll invite me. Standing in that airport kiosk, listening to a stranger explain orbital mechanics history, I realized how passive that mindset was. Katherine Johnson didn't wait for engraved invitations. She knew she was capable. She knew her math was solid. And she insisted on being in rooms where decisions were made. My flight got delayed another hour, so Denise and I kept talking. She told me she'd grown up obsessed with space but didn't learn about Johnson until decades later. She said finding out about her made her feel like history had been hiding something from her. That phrase stuck with me: history had been hiding something from her. When I finally boarded my flight, I couldn't stop thinking about it. About how many contributions sit quietly behind major milestones. About how incomplete stories shape how we see who belongs in certain spaces. I decided, I didn't want to be hidden from those spaces anymore. The following Monday, something small but important happened at work. There was a planning meeting for a new project, one I had experience in, but wasn't officially assigned to. Normally, I would have stayed silent. Let the louder personalities take over. Instead, I raised my hand. I said I had some insights that might help. I asked if I could sit in on future meetings. My heart was pounding the whole time. And you know what? They said yes. No dramatic applause. No cinematic music. Just yes. Over the next few weeks, I ended up contributing ideas that actually shaped the direction of the project. My manager later told me she hadn't realized I was interested in that kind of responsibility. Interested? I had just been waiting for permission. Permission to be seen. Learning about Katherine Johnson reframed something for me. The moon landing wasn't just a story about bravery in space. It was a story about brilliance in rooms where you weren't expected to be. It was about insisting your mind mattered. And it made me confront how often I shrink myself out of opportunities because I don't want to seem pushy. The moral lesson I walked away with: stop hiding, and trust yourself. Katherine Johnson trusted her math enough to stake astronauts' lives on it. She trusted her expertise enough to step into meetings where she wasn't automatically welcomed. I don't calculate rocket trajectories. I'm not sending anyone into orbit. But I do know now that waiting quietly on the sidelines doesn't launch anything. Now, every time I see a rocket launch clip or even glance at the moon, I think about the invisible calculations behind it, and the woman who made sure they were right. All because my phone battery died in an airport. Turns out, sometimes you have to lose connection to get a better signal. Thank you for listening to this Britt-O-Verse Smart-Short. How did you like this story? Remember, don't shrink yourself into smaller spaces and risk being hidden from the big things. Know your value, know yourself, and trust yourself. Your contributions are worth it. You're worth it, so let that worth shine. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear more, please make sure to like and subscribe, so we can bring you more fun and interesting content. See you soon.